Last weekend, Formula E took to the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil for the first round of Season 11 with the racing debut of the updated Gen 3 Evo, featuring aero and visual tweaks for more aggressive styling, harder racing and faster lap times than ever. Accompanying these changes are a softer compound of Hankook Ion all-weather tyres and, for the first time ever, the use of all-wheel drive is available in attack mode during races, qualifying duels and on the launch at the start of races. I personally love the updated styling. The Gen 3 cars were always just too harsh and angular. I'm glad the upper body has been slimmed down as it makes the car look overall leaner and more agile. The front wing has a more dynamic shape, reminding me of Formula E cars of old, which is much nicer than a pyramid or a Dorito. All-wheel drive is also a pretty cool innovation never seen in single-seater racing, and I can't wait to see how much faster these new cars are. The innovative new attack mode was also available to drivers in free practice, where Season 9 champion and Andretti driver Jake Dennis and Nissan's Oliver Rowland looked most comfortable and capable with the updated machinery. Tag Heuer Porsche also showed decent form off the back of their latest championship with Pascal Wehrlein, and teammate Antonio Felix da Costa showing consistent form through the free practice sessions. Those teams and drivers were among a few not to make significant changes over the off-season. Neo 333, which became ERT in Season 10, became Kiro Raceco for Season 11. These name changes and rebrands, paired with mediocre results, personally remind me of the Charouz PHM AIX outfit from Formula 2. Take from that what you will. Now equipped with the sublime Porsche powertrain, could Kiro Raceco climb the order in the hands of rookie David Beckman and radio sweetheart Dan Tickton? Only time will tell. The striking black and yellow livery gives me Jordan vibes, and I love it, so I kinda hope deep down this outfit can find ground this season. Another bright yellow livery made its way on the grid this season in the form of Lola Yamaha Apt. This trio of legendary sporting names recruited Season 3 champion Lucas Di Grassi and F2 star Zane Maloney, which I think is a good choice. You have a very experienced pair of hands on one side of the garage to provide feedback and develop the car, beside a young rookie looking to make a name for himself and push on with a different breed of race car. Personally, I find this team an exciting prospect, and I'm curious to see how they'll perform under the new nameplate through the season. Jaguar, who we'll ignore as a car company for obvious reasons, and acknowledge as a brilliant Formula E team, sticks with drivers Mitch Evans and Nick Cassidy. The duo of super quick and hungry racers created some tension last season, so we'll see how much they can work together to push Jaguar a step forward again in Season 11, or maybe how much they hold each other back in a bid for glory. We'll see. Max Günther joined John-Eric Vergne in the DS Penske after Stoffel Vandoorne stepped aside for ventures with Maserati. The Italian marquee has the Season 8 champion alongside Jake Hughes, a race winner with Neon McLaren, who also seeks a new challenge with Maserati. Andretti retains Jake Dennis and places Nico Müller beside him, seeking his first win in the series. Envision Racing keeps their lineup of Sebastian Buemi and Robin Fries, while Neon McLaren replaces outgoing Jake Hughes with Taylor Barnard, their test and reserve driver last season, who impressed when filling in for an injured Sam Bird, which he now stars alongside. Mahindra retains their lineup of Nick De Vries and Eduardo Mortara as the whole team looks forward to pushing their Mahindra powertrain to new heights in Season 11. Norman Nato returns to Nissan to partner Oliver Rowland at a crucial time for the Japanese manufacturer, as they push to surpass rivals Porsche and Jaguar. Anyway, let's get to the main portion of the weekend, starting with qualifying. If you're new to Formula E, or it's been a while since you tuned in, here's a quick rundown of Formula E's unique and exciting qualifying format. The first part of qualifying sees two groups of 11 cars in 12-minute sessions. The groups are decided by odd and even numbers in the championship, and the top four at the end of the session advance onto the next stage. Out of Group A, Dennis, Da Costa, Rowland and Vergne made the cut. In Group B, Mitch Evans' Jaguar ground to a halt multiple times with a technical fault and red flagged the session. When the session returned to green, it was Wehrlein, Mortara, Günther and Nato who made it through. After the group stages come the duels, a series of head-to-head shootouts to decide who's eliminated and who advances to the next round. Nissan's Oliver Rowland, who's been quick all weekend, is paired against Porsche's Antonio Felix da Costa in our first quarter-final duel. Rowland comes out on top by 0.060. John-Eric Vergne vs Jake Dennis, two champions head-to-head. Dennis makes it through by half a second. In Günther and Mortara's battle, ex-teammates from Maserati, the DS Penske looks quick in the hands of Günther, who makes a convincing duel win against Mortara, beating the Mahindra driver by 3/10. The last quarter-final sees Norman Nato versus Pascal Wehrlein. The reigning champion claims his place in the semi-finals by 0.122 seconds. Into the semi-finals, we've knocked out 4 drivers and only 4 are left. Jake Dennis faces Oliver Rowland first in what could be a very close battle based on what we've seen all weekend from these two. An incredible final sector pushes Dennis from a disadvantage right up to the line, where he just missed out by 1,000th of a second.
The last corner, can he just sneak ahead? Look at oh, 0.001!
Highlighting the elite skill and fine margins on the streets of Sao Paulo, Oliver Rowland makes it through to the final. Max Günther against Wehrlein, an easy ride for Wehrlein, who looks ahead to the battle for pole against Rowland. Rowland leaves no margins on his final duels lap, exuberantly sliding and using every inch of space up to the walls in each corner. The time delta swung between the pair throughout the final sector, but it was Pascal Wehrlein who came out on top to win the Julius Baer pole position.
Who's going to take pole position? Checkered flag is out, and it's Wehrlein who's done it! Wehrlein takes pole position!
Yes! Woohoo! Good job, mate. Focus on your in-lap.
His lap time of 1 minute 9 seconds, 0.851, is almost 3 seconds in his pole time from last year, showing just how much quicker the upgraded Gen 3 Evo is. The race procedure at the start of an E-Prix includes no formation lap. Instead, teams are allocated grid slots 4 places, 2 rows, behind their starting position. This allows every driver to perform a burnout to generate tyre temperature, while teams can assess the technical systems are all working effectively. Before the race could start, however, the procedure was paused as Robin Frice's Jaguar-powered Envision racing car had a technical fault. The car was carefully rolled away and the start procedure continued. Just Formula E things, I guess. And for the first time ever, Formula E started a race using all-wheel drive. Unleashing a 0-60 time of less than 2 seconds, the pack followed Oliver Rowland and Pascal Wehrlein down to turn 1.
Potential right front damage, Max being Max. Such a nice guy,
said Jake Dennis after a little contact with the US Penske driver on the opening lap. A safety car is called on lap 2 after an unlucky shunt between Nico Muller and Jake Hughes. Buemi is forced to check off at turn 6, catching Hughes off guard. Contact occurs between them, forcing Hughes offline, and he washes into the wall. Directly behind him, Muller makes contact on the outside of David Beckman, sending him sideways into the wall-planted Maserati. In all the chaos, Mitch Evans carved his way from 22nd on the grid to 12th at the safety car. Eventually, the safety car was withdrawn and the restart coming to lap 6, where the order up front didn't change, but some drivers like Nick Cassidy in the Jaguar opted for an early use of attack mode, while the pack was still bunched up. He took a 4-minute stint of attack mode and swiftly pushed to the front of the pack, overtaking Rowland on the run to turn 1 on lap 8. The favour is shortly returned as Rowland uses attack mode to regain the lead. Sam Bird, Taylor Barnard and Norman Nato received drive-through penalties for overpower. All 3 cars used the Nissan powertrain, which tells me something needs a little tweak behind the scenes as the cars may be exceeding the power limit over bumps or in attack mode. Mitch Evans found himself in 4th on lap 12 after the first round of attack mode usage. It must be said at this point the official highlights from the Formula E YouTube channel skips out most of the early race, which honestly doesn't do this race justice. The new attack mode usage is very cool, adding a very different dynamic to the race, and I can't wait to see how attack mode strategies will vary moving forward in the season. The idea of the peloton from previous Gen 3 races has dissipated somewhat with the new attack mode, where now cars are pushing on and decisively shuffling positions at critical moments in the race. On lap 20, Jake Dennis grounds to a halt at turn 1. With his car in a red status, unsafe for marshals to interact with, the red flag is called for safety precautions. The action returned after a lengthy pause. On lap 23, the lights went out for the second time with Da Costa in the box seat. Norman Nato got a great start and made his way past the Portuguese into turn 1, followed by a sensational move by Günther to sweep round the outside of Wehrlein at turn 2, grabbing the inside line for 3 and zooming off. Both Jaguars still had 4 minutes left of attack mode and the majority of the field without, putting them in a prime position to move forward and slice through the pack in a bid for the lead. Cassidy took his attack mode and made his way to second place. Oliver Rowland, leading the race, also received a drive-through penalty for overpower, the 4th Nissan-powered car to receive one in this race. Mitch Evans also takes his attack mode, moving up and passing his teammate. The Jaguars are in a provisional 1-2 as Rowland takes his drive-through penalty. However, on lap 30, Cassidy was shuffled down by Da Costa as the peloton closed up behind the leaders in the late stages of the race. McLaren's Taylor Barnard passed his teammate Sam Bird with Wehrlein and Gunter in the mix. In the concertina at turn 4, Wehrlein attempted to overtake Cassidy on the outside, provisionally having Barnard on his outside himself, and Gunter took the opportunity to cut back at the apex of the T4 right-hander, diving for the outside of turn 5. However, he swoops in too aggressively, with Cassidy hooking him into the wall on the exit. The contact broke Cassidy's steering, and the car ploughs into Wehrlein's Porsche at turn 6 and pitches the reigning champ into the air, slamming the concrete wall and rolling his car up on its side. He slides along the straight almost upside down, stopping shortly afterwards. The spectacular nature of the crash triggered an immediate red flag to roll the car back to a safe position for the driver to extract himself. This extensive red flag period allowed DS Penske and Jaguar to make repairs to the cars involved. Wehrlein is confirmed to be okay in a crash eerily similar to his experience of Monaco in 2017. Evans led Da Costa and the two McLarens to the rolling restart, where it became apparent that Taylor Barnard had the most usable energy, about 3 to 4% more than the cars around him. Could we see Barnard, in his first race as a full-time driver, take victory? In the dying moments of the race, Barnard is unable to capitalise on his energy advantage. Evans leads the peloton home, taking victory from 22nd and last place on the grid, followed by Da Costa and rookie Barnard taking a podium and with teammate Sam Bird close behind. Both McLarens had drive-through penalties in this race, demonstrating what a truly crazy spectacle Formula E could be this season, with highs, lows, and a new dynamic introduced by the innovative new attack mode. Behind the front quartet were Eduardo Mortara, Norman Nato, Nick De Vries, Sebastian Buemi, Dan Ticktum and John-Eric Verne rounding out the top 10. So, an aborted start, safety car, 2 red flags, a car upside down, a last to first victory, a rookie on the podium who also took a drive-through penalty, and 6 retirements. Welcome back, Formula E.